more.
The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
PrisonPlanet.com. PrisonPlanet.com.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
You've heard about the essential qualities of iodine when it comes to your well-being, and you've read the opinions of top experts regarding this good member of the halogen family. Still, reports indicate that iodine is absent in sufficient amounts from the daily lives of countless people worldwide. Now, our extra-strength new nascent iodine formula is here, Survival Shield X2, leading the way into the next generation of super high-quality nascent iodine. InfoWars Life Survival Shield X2 is derived from 200+ million-year-old salt solutions found more than 7,000 feet below the Earth's surface. The result is a unique nascent iodine that is both concentrated and free of unwanted additives, genetically modified ingredients, and completely vegan. We even pre-screen our Survival Shield X2 iodine for radiation. Pure, clean, and sourced from deep within the Earth, X2 nascent iodine is available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or call 1-888-253-3139.
In the near future.
When you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball.
Alert. Security alert. This is Homeland Security. Analysis. InfoWars building independent media operation.
You let the worst people get control and tell us that we are the ones responsible.
Prime directive. Discredit Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
A popular conspiracy theory talk show called InfoWars.
Alex Jones is now in an Austin jail.
These people are assaulting us.
Targeting of patriots engaged.
They are never going to stop. They're never going to deviate from their program until we stop them.
Block free iPhone app at Infowars.com. Block free podcast and video feed. Imperative. Destroy Prison Planet TV.
You gotta set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. Intellectually, it's begun. You can feel it.
The Alex Jones Show, because there is a war on for your mind.
Well, we got some bad news, folks. Ebola has now hit Europe. BBC is reporting Ebola in Spain. Nurse infected in Madrid. That means it's in the hospital. Somebody else has got it. Spanish health worker becomes first Ebola patient to contract disease outside of Africa. I tell you, this is a real bummer because this thing kills 90% of those that don't get proper medical treatment, about half of those that do. The fellow that brought it into the U.S. is fighting for his life right now, the AP is reporting. Yeah, I don't want these flights coming in from countries collapsing. Does that make me crazy? I guess it does. A nursing auxiliary in Madrid has tested positive for Ebola after treating a patient in the Spanish capital. That's somebody they brought in with Ebola, just like they're doing here, and now it's spreading. Who would have thought it? To Spanish newspaper El País, am I saying that right? El País. The case is believed to be the first in which a person contracted Ebola from a source outside of Africa. Yeah, well, you just know the other shoe is about to drop with this guy running around for a week, vomiting everywhere. Back from the epicenter, from outside the hospital, from at the apartment complex, is Joe Biggs, a veteran of Afghanistan and Iraq, now a veteran of Patient Zero in North America, in Dallas, Texas. Joe, you were there for 3 days. with our intrepid cameraman, who's also seen some adventures, Josh Owens, while he's been here. Give us your take on what you witnessed and where you see all this going.
It doesn't look good. The CDC wants to tell you that everything's fine, but just that press conference that we went to shows the unprofessionalism that they have there in their ranks. The fact that I asked them, don't you think that we should be doing something about stopping the flights from West Africa coming in to America? And they laughed at me, and they thought that that was funny. I don't think that's a funny thing to joke about.
By the way, we should take that video, even though it happened last Wednesday, and post it right now with the headline, CDC laughs at stopping flights from Africa. Yeah. Because 3 days after you did that, they started responding, saying, quote, stopping flights would make it worse.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. How does it cutting it off at the head and stopping it in its tracks, how does that make it worse? You know, if we don't fly it over here.
By the way, great job going and getting those questions in.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to fight through all those reporters. Please continue.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand their logic there, saying that stopping that is going to make it worse. I don't understand how that happens. But just the press conference, just the snide remarks from the people there that were talking. Like Governor Perry had nothing to say even about Ebola, really. I mean, it was just jibber jabber. He was there just as a political figure to parade around, to kind of take, I would say, the eyes off the subject, kind of in a sense, you know. It was just a big dog and pony show.
Well, I saw the video where they laugh at you. Why aren't you moving to shut down the flights? You notice Governor Jindal isn't laughing. You notice everybody else isn't laughing. You notice the state governors aren't laughing and all these letters getting written. Why isn't our governor calling for that?
Yeah, I mean, and they were sitting there like, well, that's something that we can't do. I'm like, well, you know, you're the governor. You talk to the president. And regardless if anybody on this panel that's here today can do anything about it, every eye in America was watching.
That's total buck passing.
Yeah.
It's other countries shut down the flights, shut down the flights.
Over a month ago.
And what are they doing bringing them in? Like Spain did it, it's now spreading.
Yeah.
And then no one's going to get in trouble. What are they doing bringing Ebola victims into our countries?
And then Governor Perry goes and says that Texas, the medical staff is the most well-equipped to handle this. Meanwhile, the person at the lowest tier level getting someone off the street doesn't even know to pass it up the chain that, hey, this guy just came in from Liberia. He's showing possible signs of, you know, the Ebola virus, and they send him off with antibiotics. I mean, that shows if it happens at that low level and they're not giving that information and pushing it down to the first responders, we're all screwed.
It's unbelievable. Remember a month and a half ago when we warned of this, the national media attacked us?
They said we were crazy. They said that we were just conspiracy theorists out of our mind. And here it is.
Well, notice how they laughed at you, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we go down to the city council and we say, we don't want the city of Austin to try to ban guns in the city limits. And they laugh at us when they're trying. Or we don't want fluoride. Here's Harvard study. It increases cancer, lowers IQ. They laugh at us. Hey, we don't want you flying Ebola people into the country. Ha, ha, ha. That's all they've got is ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. It's this smart mouth, swarmy attitude.
ISIS isn't on its way. It's already here. Ebola isn't on its way. It's already here. Tyranny isn't on its way. It's already here. You know, this is crazy, the times we live in. And these are the people that are supposed to be doing something. Meanwhile, they're laughing, they're joking. They're not taking this serious. I think they have a huge ego problem. They're afraid to admit that this is something that can get out of control.
Well, yeah, because Obama said there wasn't going to happen. There was no fear, no problem, not likely. And now they're just like, oh, it's no big deal. It's not going to spread. Everything's fine.
Well, you know what's funny, though? They come out and say that these people who go to West Africa have the right to return. But meanwhile, we have Sergeant Morsi in Mexico. He doesn't have a right to return, and our government's not going to do anything for him.
Well, this guy isn't even a citizen that flew in.
Yeah.
And it turned out he had Ebola, knew he had it, and came here. Everyone but citizens has rights in this country now.
Yeah, that's true. We have nothing anymore. It's sad to say that we live in a time now in our own country where, as citizens, law-abiding citizens, we're now terrorists.
But ISIS gets rocket launchers.
Yeah, and they get free reign to go wherever they want. Illegals are paid, given bus tickets, and, you know, able to fly across the country without even any kind of identification whatsoever. I mean, like, it's like a
Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
What about this AP headline? Militants, FBI says, may be working on plan to strike U.S. FBI director warns of Khorasan attack, says that it's an imminent attack in the U.S. When they blow stuff up, or if they do, or shoot up a school, you know they're going to say we got to turn our guns in or something, or it'll be Liberty's fault. MSNBC had a headline yesterday, Second Amendment NRA to blame for Ebola, with no reason or why. So
Well, the Khorasan thing, too, though, was Obama's way of, because Obama, or was it a couple of years ago, said that we had already, defeated Al-Qaeda, basically. And, we've already suppressed that. We're done with them. So now they're using a different name to kind of, so he can cover his own tracks in a sense. And he doesn't want to admit, once again, because of his ego, that he was wrong about that. And he's overestimated everything. So they're giving it a new name. So it doesn't look as bad. So we can't say that I made a mistake.
This is cognitive dissonance, though, because they know the American people faced with something this monstrous. Open borders, government funding Al-Qaeda, government bringing in Ebola, government bankrupting the pension funds, government just trying to push us over a cliff. They're trying to wreck the country. The people that run the country want to bring us down while using us to build their world government, that when that's ready, they're done with us. So they're getting us ready. That's why everything they do is to shut the country down. Do you get it, folks?
I can't stand to see where this is going. Like, every day I wake up and I have to read these headlines, and I'm just like, I can't believe this is real. Sometimes I pinch myself. I think I'm still dreaming.
Well, here's some good news. The British military came out and told their parliament, stop funding radical Islamicists, and that the West is behind this. Our own Joint Chiefs, I know, have been telling Capitol Hill that. So there is some good news that even the military brass, who are very political, understand this has gotten out of control. I mean, this has gotten out of control.
Yeah, on all fronts. I mean, the border's open on the ground. We're leaving our airspace open for these flights to come in. It's a complete and total planned event.
What happens as 5 million people in Africa get it, as they're estimating, between 1.4 and 5, and they all try to flee here? We're just going to accept unlimited Ebola? Just come on in, but meanwhile, they got checkpoints on the highways? It's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, you see how quickly that one person affects so many people. You shake someone's hand, you talk to somebody, you get some people that are close talkers and spit when they talk. One person can affect 100 people. So this is why I thought it was so unprofessional at that conference that they were laughing at questions like that. Laughing. This is not a joking matter whatsoever.
Well, that's why everything's a joke. Abortion's a joke. Tyranny's a joke. Adulterated food's a joke. GMO's a joke. It's more than just a corrupt establishment. It's a bunch of trendies who literally have never been faced with anything in their lives, who just get paychecks and are lazy, and they think everything's funny, Joe. They don't know what the real world's like, I guess.
Yeah, they're firing officers in the military. Meanwhile, they're bringing in all these illegals that come in to join and be in the military. They're bringing in these voters. It's one big stage thing.
It's a bunch of lawyers and people looting the country.
Yeah.
This is a lawyer mindset of just screw everything up and then bill on both sides.
It's disgusting to see this. It just, every day we go out here and we try to do what we can to tell people about this stuff, but there's so many people that just sit down and don't even pay attention. They won't wake up whatsoever. I just don't understand. With all this going on right now, this should be the largest awakening we should have right now in people with all this.
Well, I'm not putting folks in the 20s and 30s on a pedestal, but I knew my grandfathers and grandmothers. They were hardworking, smart, cool people who didn't take any crap either. And they knew how to skin a buck, run a trot line. They knew how to do electrical. They knew how to make cheese. They knew how to can food. They enjoyed working. And then I think about how I am lazy and pathetic compared to them, and I'm super hardworking and know how to do a lot more stuff than the general public. So, but I can see the degeneration. I mean, my dad, grew up on a farm and a ranch, so he knows how to do everything. I don't know how to do stuff my dad knows how to do. And I think about my kids, and my kids are great compared to a lot of kids, but they don't know how to do anything. Just because I'm so busy, my dad taught me how to live off the land. His taught him to be a businessman, to quote Hank Williams Jr. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I got of the old timers is how to shoot and fight, and that's about it. And I look at all these skills lost. 7 million people, major university studies, starved to death or died of complications from bad nutrition in the 10 years of the Great Depression. 90% were rural, most of them self-sufficient. We're now 90% urban. Of the 10% that are rural, half are self-sufficient. We have a collapse. We have a depression. We have a major Ebola or smallpox outbreak or something like that. Can you imagine what all these yuppies and people that just know how to play with their iPhone and act cool all day? Can you imagine when hell hits the fan, what it's going to be like with these people? All I got to say is, thank God I'm sitting on a pile of guns and food.
Yeah, they're not ready for anything like that. I mean, like you said, most people don't have an attention span past the length of their arm, because all they do is stare at their phone all day, all night, nonstop. If it comes down to